one day somebody does something unspeakable to someone else, to someone you hardly knew, and you do something about it because you can.
From Cleveland.com, we get this story. An Akron police officer shot and killed a 15-year-old Maple Heights youth who was carrying a loaded gun Thursday night, according to authorities. That's Thanksgiving night. The office of the Summit County Medical Examiner said late Friday night that Jasmine Tucker died in the shooting. Police Captain Michael Miller said in a statement that the shooting took place Thursday night, that's Thanksgiving, at East Avenue and Vernon Odom Boulevard. He said 2 officers were working on a report from a prior incident in their patrol car when they heard gunshots about 11 p.m. Shortly after they left the car, they confronted the youth with a gun, says Miller. One of the officers, who's been with the force for nearly 5 years, shot Jasmine Tucker, said Miller. The other officer, who's been with the department for less than a year, did not fire his gun. Now, Captain Miller, in a statement, did not indicate what prompted the officer to fire his weapon, but Captain Miller said the officers provided first aid to the youth and paramedics took him to a nearby hospital where he died. The 2 officers have been placed on administrative leave, and the Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation will handle the case. Quote, every loss of life is a tragedy, and to lose a young life is heartbreaking, says Akron Mayor Shamas Malik, said this Friday night. But he goes on, my condolences are with Jasmine's loved ones tonight. My thoughts are also with our Akron police officers and their families. I believe the BCI investigation will provide a full understanding of the incident. I ask our community to reserve judgment until more facts are shared, knowing that it is a difficult thing to ask in situations like this, end quote. Now, the state agency, BCI, is also investigating another Akron police shooting, the death of Michael Donnell Jones, 54, in August of this year. Jones of Akron was shot during a confrontation at a gas station in the 2200 block of East Avenue when officers saw what they believed to be a stolen U-Haul truck parked at a gas station. Officers attempted to get Jones from the vehicle, which continued to accelerate, according to body camera video of the incident that police released. One of the officers then fired his weapon during the struggle. Now, this latest shooting on Thanksgiving night came a month after Akron agreed to pay $4.85 million to the family of Jalen Walker, who was killed when officers fired 94 shots at him after a car chase in 2022. I think I did the editorial on the Jalen Walker. It sounds so familiar, so familiar. But there it is since 2022, at least 3 Akron police shootings that are being investigated. And the mayor, you heard what he said in the statement. He said, let's reserve judgment until all the facts are in. I have gone through story after story of this one, news agency, news media outlet, on Google and Microsoft search. I was just going through stories, trying to get more information, and there is none. The only thing I can find in terms of information is the police heard gunshots. They drive up there. They see Jasmine Tucker with a gun. They shoot him. I'm not saying they're right or wrong because I don't know if the cops were right or wrong in this one. There's no body cam footage yet that's been released. They're not saying any more than this. But after having done so many editorials on police incidents, so many that I've done, and maybe I'm wrong. You let me know in the comment section if you think you disagree with this statement here. But it almost seems like to me when the police maybe were right in shooting, okay, the guy pointed a gun at him and cocked a hammer or whatever, they always tell you what happened. Well, he pointed a gun at us, he fired a shot, they had to, stop the threat. whatever. But when the police don't say what's going on, well, he had a gun and we shot him. But what was he doing with the gun? They're not saying. And again, I don't, like the mayor said, let's reserve judgment. But I think one of the temperature gauges in this country, or I'm saying it wrong, the climate of this country is that anytime the police shoot somebody, particularly a teenager, automatically we're like, yep, shot another teenager. Yep, shot another guy. He's shot somebody else. We're very cynical and we're very skeptical of law enforcement in this country. That's the climate right now. And I think one of the reasons is because there are so many cops who lie on police reports. Memphis, Tennessee, Tyree Nichols. That camera on that street pole blatantly showed the cops lied on their police reports. We saw it on video. It didn't match what they said. And then Breonna Taylor, pencil whipped the warrant full of crap, full of lies, and the cops are being convicted for it and sentenced. So I think that until the police win our trust, we're always going to be skeptical. We're always going to be, one eye closed, one eye open, kind of like, yeah, why don't you tell us what really happened? I think that's what we're always going to be like. Maybe it's not fair to law enforcement, but hey, until you cops, when you see your buddy do wrong, until you step up and go, he effed up. I don't believe the climate in this country is going to change a whole lot. I believe we're always going to be looking at you like, tell me what really happened. Because I've seen it myself where cops act up, where cops step over the line, and other cops kind of go, I don't see nothing. Well, you're just as wrong because you're allowing it. And I think that is one of the problems. Well, it's one of the major problems that's causing people to distrust police. Well, hey, you see him effing up and you're just turning your head instead of walking over and going, hey, cut it, man. Don't do that. Let's do this. Be professional. Why don't you do that instead? So we come back to the Jasmine Tucker shooting here on Thanksgiving night. What was he really doing with that gun? I mean, shots fired. Okay, maybe he shot it in the air. It's Thanksgiving. Woohoo! Turkey night. What was he really doing with that gun? You need to tell us, cops. Not just, well, he had a gun. Okay, what was he doing with it? Was he aiming it? Was he holding it down and looking at you guys? We want to know. And until we know, we're not really going to trust you because you're part of the problem. You're law enforcement.